Tonight, the dangerous heat blanketing the country. Nearly 100 million people under heat alerts from North Dakota down to Florida. Temperatures feeling like more than 110 degrees. Thunderstorms triggering flash floods. And in New York, new air quality alerts from Canada wildfire smoke. We are tracking it all. New video from inside that Southwest flight forced to make sudden maneuvers to avoid a collision. One passenger telling our Maggie Vespa just about everyone on board was screaming. Just in, Israel's military saying it will resume humanitarian aid drops in Gaza as it faces growing global pressure. The firestorm over Jeffrey Epstein. The Justice Department granting limited immunity to Ghislaine Maxwell as President Trump is in Scotland ahead of key trade meetings. A suspect arrested overnight for a deadly dorm shooting, appearing before a judge today. The license plate tracking technology that police used to find him. The massive search for a New Orleans prisoner released by mistake, just months after 10 prisoners escaped the same jail. A school bus overturns on a Pennsylvania highway after crashing with a tour bus. History in the making, as the first astronaut with a physical disability is cleared for space flight. And there's good news tonight about having good news to share with the ones you love most.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. We begin tonight with millions of Americans facing extreme temperatures. Take a look at this map. You can see almost across the entire eastern half of the country, 98 million of us are at risk of dangerous heat. Temperatures in some areas that feel like it's 110 degrees or more. And many people won't see any relief until the middle of next week. All of that heat and humidity is also triggering severe storms and flash flooding. And in New York, they're seeing hazy skies and under an air quality alert because of wildfire smoke from Canada. Ryan Chandler is tracking it all.
Tonight, millions facing extreme weather risks nationwide. In Missouri, heavy rain swamping roads and homes, making this golf course look like a lake. And in Texas, tropical downpours flooding these streets, stranding cars under a busy overpass.
Way to go, Houston drivers.
That same system bringing oppressive heat and humidity to 98 million people from North Dakota to Florida today. Feels like temperatures expected to reach more than 110 degrees across the east this weekend. Charlotte, North Carolina, breaking its daily high temperature today, hitting 101 degrees. Here in Dallas, bikers brave the heat.
How do you stay safe?
Hydration. Hydration is the key.
This week, that heat proved deadly. Dallas County urging caution after reporting their first heat death of the year. The Salvation Army giving away water and fans to keep people safe ahead of the weekend. From sweltering temps to smoke, Canadian wildfires triggering air quality alerts for much of the Northeast. EarthCam capturing gray haze, blurring out the Statue of Liberty this afternoon. Millions facing more brutal heat through the weekends as extreme weather poses dangers nationwide.
Ryan Chandler joins me now from Dallas. Ryan, how long could this heat last?
Well, Jose, this humid heat is going to stick around for many people well into next week. Some people in the Northeast got a good break from that over the weekend, but they could see feels like temps up to 105 degrees come Monday. Jose?
Ryan Chandler, thank you. We are seeing video on board that Southwest flight forced to make sudden maneuvers to avoid a mid-air collision. Maggie Vespa has the latest.
Tonight, mounting questions from passengers and FAA investigators about why air traffic controllers didn't sound alarms before a near collision near Burbank, California, Friday between Las Vegas-bound Southwest Flight 1496 and a Hawker Hunter, a privately owned British fighter jet. The mid-air scare forcing the Southwest pilot to dive roughly 500 feet, according to flight tracking data.
The entire plane was screaming when the plane dropped, and then holding on for dear life.
Brenda Friedman, on vacation with her husband, recorded videos for their children.
I said, I love you. And I said, I'm never doing this again. I'm never getting on a flight without you ever again.
Videos she took show a pilot checking on a flight attendant. Southwest saying 2 were injured, 1 taken to the hospital. Pilots telling passengers they made the maneuver following onboard alerts from the plane's TCAS, or Traffic Collision Avoidance System, an automated emergency system that warns pilots of other approaching aircrafts. Passengers applauding when the plane landed safely in Vegas. Former FAA air safety investigator Jeff Guzzetti says it's too soon to know who's responsible. Should air traffic control have issued a warning before the TCAS system went off? Is it rare that that goes off with no other warnings prior?
So ostensibly, yes. Now, I'm not sure if the controller is culpable here. We don't know what the controller was seeing on his screen.
This latest close call in the air comes 6 months after the crash over the Potomac near D.C. between a military chopper and a passenger jet that killed 67. The NTSB is set to begin a public hearing on that crash next week. Jose.
Maggie Vespa, thank you. We are following breaking news in Michigan tonight, where state police say they are investigating a multiple stabbing incident at a Walmart. Maya Eaglin is following the latest. Maya, what do we know?
Good evening, Jose. Officials say the injuries range in severity. Police say a suspect is in custody and there was no longer a danger to the public at this time. A local hospital confirmed to NBC News that at least 11 victims are being treated from this incident. This happened at the Walmart in Traverse City, Michigan, about 2 hours north of Grand Rapids. We'll continue to monitor and update as we learn more. Jose?
Also tonight, Israel's military says it is resuming humanitarian aid drops inside Gaza. Aid organizations have warned of mass starvation within the Palestinian enclave. Today's announcement comes after Israel's government faced growing pressure over that humanitarian crisis. President Trump is in Scotland this weekend for trade meetings with the EU and the UK, but the firestorm over Jeffrey Epstein is overshadowing his trip as we are learning more about the limited immunity Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, received during 9 hours of questioning. Kelly O'Donnell is traveling with the president.
Escaping the extreme heat of Washington, political and otherwise, for this 5-day private visit to Scotland. President Trump on the tee at one of his family-owned golf courses. But European officials are ready to meet, including UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. And tomorrow, the EU president, who's working toward a tariff deal for her 27-nation bloc.
With the European Union, I think we have a good 50-50 chance. That's a lot.
But deflecting on the controversy around the Jeffrey Epstein files.
You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing.
However, a senior administration official says the Justice Department granted limited immunity to Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, allowing her to answer 2 days of DOJ questions without risk of additional prosecution. Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking.
People on his client list may be outed in the coming days. I can't wait for that.
That was conservative podcaster Dan Bongino before he became the FBI's deputy director and before he threatened to quit that job when the administration said there was no client list and no Epstein files would be released. Today, a cryptic new post from Bongino, writing that he is shocked down to my core. Bongino refers to public corruption and political weaponization, but without explanation, yet declares we are going to get the answers we all deserve. After hours of interview with Ghislaine Maxwell, a top DOJ official says they will provide more about what they learned at an appropriate time. Jose?
Kelly O'Donnell with the president in Scotland. Thank you. Tomorrow on Meet the Press, Kristen Welker will have the latest on the Epstein case, interviewing House Speaker Mike Johnson and South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. That's tomorrow morning, right here on NBC. Also tonight, the Treasury Department has sanctioned a Venezuelan crime cartel. The U.S. government designated the Cartel de los Soles, or Cartel of the Suns, as an international terrorist organization and alleging it is being run by Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. The suspect in a deadly shooting at the University of New Mexico appeared before a judge today. He is accused of killing one teen and injuring another in a shooting that led to a campus-wide lockdown. Steve Patterson reports.
Tonight, the teenager accused of taking a young life inside a campus dorm room.
State of New Mexico versus John Patrick Fuentes.
Making his first court appearance virtually today in New Mexico.
You are going to be held without bond and will remain in custody, okay, sir?
Yes, sir. 18-year-old John Fuentes appearing in front of a judge, charged with aggravated assault, battery, and first-degree murder.
This is a difficult and heartbreaking day for the University of New Mexico.
Police say early Friday morning, Fuentes shot 2 teens inside a dorm at the University of New Mexico's Central Campus in Albuquerque, including a 19-year-old shot with non-life-threatening injuries and 14-year-old Michael Lamont found with a fatal wound to the head.
It appears that at this time that the individuals were playing video games in a residence that did belong to a UNM student.
Authorities say they responded to the Gila dormitory at about 1:30 Friday morning, arriving to blood, broken glass, and the discovery of Lamont's body. The shooting sparking fear across campus, leading to an hours-long lockdown and shelter in place during the second day of new student orientation. Nearly 12 hours later, police say Fuentes was arrested during a traffic stop some 25 miles away. Officers crediting cutting-edge tech to ending the manhunt.
A key development in the investigation came through the use of license plate reader technology, which helped our investigators track the suspect's movements and ultimately led to his location.
An alleged killer, today not yet entering a plea and now awaiting formal arraignment. Steve Patterson, NBC News.
There is a push tonight to find a missing grenade in Los Angeles County. The county sheriff says that missing grenade was linked to a massive explosion that killed 3 deputies at a training facility in Santa Monica earlier this month. The device is one of 2 that were recovered from a storage unit after being reported to police. It is believed that both were inert during the recovery, but it's still unclear why one of them went off. Still ahead tonight, the latest developments as a school bus overturns on a Pennsylvania highway. Plus, the massive search for a New Orleans inmate who was let out by mistake from the same jail where 10 others got out earlier this year. That's next. Back now with a school bus overturning and ending up on the side of the road. Police say it happened during a collision between the bus and a tour bus in the Poconos. State police say 3 adults on the school bus were seriously hurt. No kids were on board. A massive search is underway in New Orleans for an inmate who was released by mistake just weeks after 10 inmates broke out of that same jail. George Solis has this report.
It happened again. A New Orleans inmate is on the run. This time, it was no bold escape, but rather the result of what the sheriff described as a clerical misidentification.
And as sheriff, I take full responsibility.
According to Sheriff Susan Hudson, on Friday, inmate Khalil Bryan was mistakenly released from the Orleans Justice Center after staff confused him with another person sharing a similar last name. Authorities say Bryan was charged with illegal possession of property and drugs and resisting an officer. New Orleans District Attorney Jason Williams says his office is working to find Bryan, but questions the sheriff's leadership.
I've been ringing alarms for months and years with systemic failures from the sheriff's office.
10 weeks ago, 10 inmates escaped through a hole in a cell wall at the jail. This video capturing the moment the group made a run for it, sparking a massive manhunt. 9 are back in custody, 1 still on the run. 2 days before Bryan's accidental release, the sheriff posting a message dispelling rumors of a takeover.
And we are here to categorically and unequivocally deny the false rumors circulating about a federal takeover of the jail.
The district attorney says he's hopeful some intervention happens soon.
I think the people of New Orleans are deeply concerned, and I can tell you that the elected officials that depend on the sheriff, myself included, are also deeply concerned and believe that there needs to be further action.
NBC News has reached out to the sheriff about this release and the DA's comments, but we have not heard back yet.
George joins me in studio. Georgia sheriff is up for re-election. Do we know where that stands?
Yeah, Jose, the sheriff did suspend her campaign back in May after the escape of those 10 inmates. She has since restarted it since earlier this month. Jose?
George Solis, thank you. We're back in a moment with how this astronaut, a former Paralympian, is set to make history in space. We're back with a former Paralympian who is set to make history in space. Ralph Sanchez has an inside look.
Every mission to space is a small step for mankind. But for John McFall to walk among the stars would be one giant leap. He's the first astronaut with a disability and the first declared mission ready to head to the International Space Station. We meet at the European Astronaut Center in Germany, where he's in training.
I really hope that we are setting the foundations for a revolution.
It took a year and a half of intensive study and training on Earth, underwater, and in zero gravity, until John was cleared for space travel.
This could be home sweet home for you.
Yeah, potentially. That would be cool, huh?
John would likely need 3 different versions of his prosthetic in space after losing his right leg in a motorcycle accident in Thailand, age 19.
I remember very, very vividly one night absolutely sobbing, just this huge outpouring of grief. And I wrote this poem called Opportunity.
Wow.
And as my tears dash this page, they are not of sadness, regret, despair, nor guilt, but madness. To have overlooked the fact that my heart is still beating and that from behind the doors for which I'm now reaching, opportunity arises.
Opportunities he seized, first as a Paralympic sprinter, then qualifying as an orthopedic surgeon, before a friend sent him a recruitment ad from the European Space Agency.
What do you think it'll mean to a kid back down on Earth who has one leg to see someone like them up in space?
Yeah, and this is a beautiful trickle-down effect of what we do, isn't it? And I think, or I hope that kid would look at what we are doing and saying, well, listen, I can do what I want to do.
Sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit?
But actually,
space is the limit?
Now, John is still waiting to find out when exactly he might blast off to space, but he could be assigned a mission early next year. Jose?
Ralph Sanchez, thank you so much. When we come back, there's good news tonight about having good news to share and making new memories for a lifetime. There's good news tonight. You know, so often the good news doesn't get as much attention as the bad. So every Saturday we highlight the many people who spread joy and love. And these are just some of those stories this week. Talk about a special delivery.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Jim.
Oh, gosh.
Can I give you a hug?
That's Jim, a UPS driver who delivers more than just mail. The Withington family in Victoria, Minnesota, going all out to celebrate his final route after 32 years on the job.
They're not customers, they're more friends than anything.
Jim showered with love and gratitude on his last day.
It's hard to put into words.
A farewell package for someone who always delivered.
Thanks, everyone.
I lost one time. I ain't gonna lose her again.
A 50-year love story finally getting its happy ending. Richard Smith and Jan Branton hit it off when they were at college in Mississippi back in 1972. But when Richard joined the military, their romance came to a halt.
I was afraid it'd be too much for her. That's why I let her go. I didn't want to.
They reconnected last spring, but then...
He said, will you marry me? And I said, yes.
After flying from Texas to Georgia to see Jan, Richard didn't waste any time. He proposed at the airport.
Show the ring.
But I hadn't nothing.
For this pilot, a smooth landing for his last flight and his career. That's Brad Hatchett, who's been flying for decades. But on his last day, a big surprise after flying from Hawaii from the people who ground him, his family.
It was overwhelming. I could feel that I was going to tear up and kind of held that in check. You know, you feel loved.
And this birthday surprise isn't just for the birthday girl. That's Yassiana Coughlin and her husband, NFL athlete Carter Coughlin, looking at past memories with friends and family. But that wasn't all. Yassiana and Carter had their own surprise. They're pregnant and expecting a baby boy.
Carter, you actually had surprise after surprise after surprise, and then also you actually prepared 2 different slide presentations.
I did. I wanted to do a slideshow of, baby Yassi all the way up to the beautiful woman she is now. And then I was thinking, that would be such a great way to tell everybody.
Yassi, what do you think is the element that has prompted so many people to identify and share that love with you all?
It's just a little glimpse of heaven, in my opinion. Just all of us surrounded by each other and loving each other, being there for one another. Like, oh my gosh, this is what we prayed for.
That's NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. I'm Jose Diaz-Balart. Thank you for the privilege of your time, and good night.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.